Have you ever encountered a hurdle with launching or growing your business? Listen, there are two things that run a business, the back end and your soft skills.
Telling you right now, if these aren't in place, you'll lose clients and you'll lose money. You don't want that? Well, you're in the right place.
Hey, I'm Dana.
Hey, I'm Sarah.
We're your hosts of the Entrepreneur Encounter, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes glance into our businesses, give you genuine feedback, tips and tricks, plus occasionally bring on guests that care about supporting you to grow your business organically and nurturing authentic relationships. Are you ready?
Welcome back to Entrepreneur Encounter. We have a great guest today. Her name is Kinsey, and she is the host of Feel Good Social and Content Marketing. Kinsey, thank you so much for being on our show today. Can you tell us all the awesome things about you, what you do, and how you got here?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Like you said, my name is Kinsey. I live in Colorado with my one husband and 3 dogs. I actually have been an entrepreneur for 5+ years now. I started building my brand Feel Good Social 5 years ago. I started my podcast Feel Good Social about 4 years ago. And really with Feel Good Social, I have been helping down-to-earth solopreneurs show up online in a way that feels good to you without wasting your time or selling your soul. That's kind of our little tagline. But then about a year and a half ago now, I first started hearing about AI tools. They started becoming mainstream and whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, when I first heard about AI tools, I was kind of a curmudgeon about them. I was like that grandpa from Dennis the Menace, Mr. Wilson, like shaking my fist at the neighbors, like, isn't the internet fake enough as it is? Like, what are AI tools going to do to our creativity and our critical thinking skills? Are robots going to take our jobs or take over the world? Like, all those hesitations popped in my mind. And I was like, no to AI tools. Is like, not for me. And then I kind of was on a long drive and I had one of those epiphanies where I realized like, oh, AI tools are here and I could either keep kind of shunning them or I can turn toward them, get curious about them and figure out how can I make them work for me in a way that's aligned with me. Then I decided to start a sister brand called Authentic AI. And I really just started using AI tools, kind of getting curious, dipping my toes in and trying to figure out like, how can I use these tools to really boost my productivity without sacrificing our authenticity or the quality of my work? That's kind of our sister brand now. We have Feel Good Social and Authentic AI. They're both kind of founded in those feel good vibes and authentic values, but they're kind of taking 2 different approaches to online business and how you can build a business that works for you.
I love all of that. I feel like a majority of my business has been from like feel good vibes. Like I've been stressing about it. And then all of a sudden, whether I'm on a long walk or it's like late night, trying to go to sleep, but I'm letting my brain wander like moments. And I'm like, oh, that's it. That's what I'm doing. Hence, Dana's desk was formed. Entrepreneur Encounter's name was formed in those very similar situations.
Yes.
I love that too. I mean, when it comes to building a business now, there's so many tools out there, especially like with AI and like automation stuff. There's so many things out there. And again, there's so much noise. I'm like, okay, use this one. This one's better. Or use this one. And this one's better. I mean, obviously, they're all going to have their ups and downs and everything's going to have their flaws. I believe when you start with using one tool. I've seen people say, I use all 5 of these things in my business. I'm like, that's overwhelming. Can you just use one thing at a time,
Yeah, I say that a lot. I'm like, start with one tool, one task, one day at a time. Because firstly, it can be a hurdle to get into AI tools. Like I said, all of those AI scaries went through my mind when I first started getting curious. And then I was like, oh. And then once you start dipping your toes into the world, it's very overwhelming. There's so many options for tools. There's so many people being like, AIify your entire business and life. And that can either one, turn you into a deer in headlights because you're like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I'm going to just not use these things anyway. And then you'll be missing out on like the help that these tools can provide you. Or it can send you down an AI rabbit hole where all of a sudden your entire life becomes about AI tools. And like you end up wasting a bunch more time because you're like trying to do all these things without actually being productive in your business. So yeah, for sure. Like, for authentic AI, authenticity is definitely, of course, a core value of ours, but also approachability, right? And like figuring out how can we make these tools work for us? Like, how can we start integrating them into the workflows that we already have established in our business? How can we just start getting used to these tools and slowly start adding more to make our life and business easier? Yeah, I actually have two different suggestions for getting started integrating AI tools into your business if you guys want me to share about those.
Yes, I think that's a great approach because so often, like I know Sarah and I do, and I know we're not the only ones, like we're overwhelmed by the demands of our businesses. So figuring out a way to manage our time with creating content for a podcast, a business, whatever it is, while also managing the other tasks, please share those. Share away.
So firstly, yeah, exactly. There's so many things that you can do with AI tools. And like, don't feel like you have to do them all immediately. And also don't feel like you have to fully revamp your entire business or like things that you're already doing in your business, right? Like, I always like to suggest that there's two different types of ways you can use AI tools to boost your productivity. Firstly, you can take a look at the workflows and systems that you already have established in your business and get curious about, oh, are there any like pressure points or repetitive tasks or just like things that could make these systems and workflows I already use again and again easier or faster? So, for example, with my podcast editing workflow, I have the whole workflow down at this point, but I definitely use AI tools along every step of the process. And it took me a while to be like, oh, okay, I want to like do this and this and this, especially for my podcast show notes. You guys know, you get done editing an episode and you're like, oh, I don't want to do any more, or even finding like little social media clips or something. I'm like, I don't want to go back through this whole thing. I don't want to write show notes. Like, what the heck was I even talking about in this episode? And so I will use an AI tool to write my show notes for me. I have my specific format for how I write my show notes every week. It's different than if I was just to be like, write me show notes. So I'm like, please write me show notes based on this example. ChatGPT dishes up something for me in 10 seconds, and then I edit it and it's good to go. It saves me at least 10 to 15 minutes for every podcast episode for that. So like just thinking about your workflows that you already have, content creation, podcast editing, answering your emails, even having ChatGPT draft responses to your emails, like thinking about how you can start to fit AI tools into the systems you have and just start using those and making them a part of your process is really great. And then the other way you can start being productive in your business is what I like to call like the daily task moments, the daily pressure points, the blocks that you hit, right? So like you're working away at your computer on a daily basis, and we all have those moments every day, multiple times in our business where we're like, okay, I'm working along, like typing this caption. I don't know how to finish this thing. And before I would go and like bang my head against the keyboard for like 20 minutes trying to think of that word. But now I will go to ChatGPT and be like, please help me finish this caption. Same thing for emails or whatever that looks like. Writer's block is a huge thing that ChatGPT can help you with, but it's also for things that you might not think of. For example, I was creating a sales page for my website. I wanted to add a countdown timer. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to pay for like motion mail or something. Like, I know I can do this with coding. Originally, I would have gone to like a Squarespace tech forum and spent like 30 minutes trying to find my answer. I hate tech forums. I hate trying to find the right coding for something in a tech forum. Instead, I went to ChatGPT and it just spat out a code that worked within 2 seconds, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
It's like tech troubleshooting. It's all these little pressure point situations that like waste your time on a daily basis just because you're trying to figure them out or you're hitting a block. And ChatGPT can help you with a lot of things. So my favorite way to do this is because when I first started using AI tools, I wasn't thinking about it as much, right? And I'd be in my zone, I'd be working away and like I'd hit that pressure point and I would forget to like be like, oh, can ChatGPT help me with this? So I used what I call the sticky note technique to train myself to make it a habit to go to ChatGPT and be like, could it help me with this? Basically, what I did was write on a sticky note, can ChatGPT help me with this? And I stuck it on the wall right next to my computer screen. So then as I'm working away in my day to day, and I hit that point where I'm like, ugh, and I'm like rolling my eyes and I roll my eyes over at the sticky note and I see it and I'm like, oh, could it? And even if I'm like, I don't think it could, I go to ChatGPT and I tell it my issue or tell it whatever it is. And usually it can help me with it, or it could suggest ways that I could fix this or work through this or whatever it is, right? So those are the two things I recommend people do when they're just starting out is take a look at the workflows you already have and then use the sticky note technique for those daily pressure points, because I save so much time every day simply by not wasting it.
When you talk about like writer's block, let me tell you, I have a hard time writing an intro to a blog post. So I'll write out the body and ask it, can you give me an introduction for this? Like make sure that it's all together. I always thought it would be cheating, but not anymore.
Well, I feel better because I use it to help me with my email responses too, because I typically err on this side of short and sweet and sometimes too short. And so I'm like, I feel like I need a little bit more segue, but writing is not my thing. I can talk all day long. But when it comes to writing and putting my thoughts on paper, I have no idea. So I'll say, help me respond to this email. These are the 3 things that I want to include, or however many like my thought process are. So it's not just here's your 3 bullet point responses. And I said, make it friendly. And then I'll obviously review it before I send. But typically that helps me sound a little bit more approachable. Because if you talk to me in person, I am. But like, I know my emails do not always portray that. I'm always in a hurry. So I treat it like a text message. I'm like, all right, here's your information. Let's go. And I just don't always like that.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. It's so helpful, right? That's why I always encourage people to figure it out in their day to day. Like, what do you need to use these tools for, And it looks different for everyone, but just kind of getting curious about that is helpful. I know that, Sarah, you just said sometimes that you feel guilty when you're using these tools and stuff.
Like I'm cheating.
Literally, guys, this has been firing me up lately. Let me tell you, the backstory is that I have my Authentic AI podcast. So I've been talking to a lot of different people about AI tools. And then also, I interviewed this woman, Dr. Nikki Sweeney, and she's like, I really want to talk about women in AI and gender bias and all that stuff. I was like, oh, yes, tell us about this. She told me some stats that I'm like, oh, shoot. There's been studies done that men are 2 times more likely to use the top 50 AI tools than women are. It's an issue because AI tools, this is another study, can actually boost your productivity by up to 40%. That's like working 2 extra days per week. So though when men are using AI tools, especially if they're using it in the workplace, who's going to be up for that raise? Who's going to be offered that promotion? The people who are using these tools and starting to embrace these tools. And if women don't start embracing them more so, then that gender income gap is going to increase, not decrease in the way we want it to. So it's really interesting. But what really gets me is exactly what you just said, Sarah, because I was like, oh, wow, that is so interesting. And I'm like mulling over why that is. And of course, there's like a few different reasons for why men are more likely to use AI tools than women. I mean, firstly, we've been raised to not feel techie and not really be welcomed into the STEM subjects, science and mathematics and all that stuff. It's like a cultural thing for sure. But also, I have run into this. There's this issue of, I remember the first time when I was actually being interviewed on someone else's podcast and the woman was like, so what do you say to the women who feel guilty for using these tools? And I was like, oh, this is a thing for sure. And like, I've heard this from so many different women now, like this feeling of guilt or this fear of cutting corners or being seen as you're cutting corners when you're using AI tools. And I get it because like, women are more concerned about the way that we're represented in society because we are more likely to be judged in the way that we show up.
That's crazy.
Like, why is it that when men use AI tools, it's considered innovative and productive? And why is it when women use AI tools, we feel guilty about it or we feel like we're cutting corners? So it's kind of one of those things that literally just fires me up so much. And I just like have to tell everyone about it. As women, us spreading the message and us encouraging each other to use those tools and flipping the script for ourselves so that we don't feel guilty for using them and we don't fall behind in the gender gap, the gender bias. The other side of this coin is that so many AI tools are user trained. ChatGPT, anything similar to that, is trained on the user input. So if women don't use AI tools, we won't be represented in these tools. And then that's when these tools will just continue to snowball and get more bro-y, which I'm not for.
Hey there, listeners. Ever feel like you're struggling to connect with customers or lead your team effectively? That's where soft skills come in.
Entrepreneur Encounter isn't just another podcast. We're a community dedicated to helping early stage entrepreneurs like you master the soft skills that make or break a business.
Technical skills are important, but without communication, collaboration, and confidence, your business might never get off the ground to the next level.
In our membership, Dana and I share actionable insights and tips to help you nurture the soft skills you need to thrive.
Give you access to bonus content, workshops, and a network of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all on the same journey.
We'll teach you how to boost your confidence,
Become a leader who inspires and motivates your team,
navigate conflict like a pro,
to resolve disagreements without drama and build stronger relationships,
communicate clearly and concisely, get your message across, build trust, and close the deal.
If you're ready to take your business to the next level, join the circle by clicking the link in the show notes. I was going to ask about a confidence question, like how do you get confident in using these tools? But I guess this is basically the same thing. I never thought about it, though, from a time management standpoint, that you gain 2 extra days in a week. I can only imagine the things that I could do if I utilized 2 extra days in my week. But an example outside of AI as just women and like, we have to do it all mindset. We don't ask for help because we're going to be judged for asking for help. It makes me think of my grandma. Roll with me here. But when she got older, we hired someone to come and help clean the house. But I would sit there and watch her clean her house before the cleaner got there so the cleaner wouldn't judge the dirty house. And I've recently read in a book too, another business consultant. She did the same thing. She felt really bad when she finally delegated that process of her home so that she could focus on work. Because I resonate with that. I can't focus on my work if there's laundry behind me, or I know there's dishes that need to be done. Hence, I'm in a co-working space right now because I had to get away from it for at least a little bit. And even with the AI tools, like, can you imagine how much more we could accomplish, how much faster we could accomplish things if that confidence was, I think the mindset for me would be, I am using this tool and I'm happy about it. I'm using this tool because it makes my life easier. Whatever AI tool you decide to use it for, and circling it all the way back to just start with 1. Don't do 5. Pick 1 and excel at it and see how much more you get done, even if it is for myself responding to emails. I now have 10 more minutes to do something else, to write my own email newsletter when I'm not stuck on trying to respond perfectly to someone else.
Yes. I mean, seriously, like it is insane. So for me, for example, I was a nerd about it and I broke down the numbers for how much time I'm actually saving every week in my own business. Here's the thing. A lot of women get turned off by using AI tools because, yeah, they can be bro-y. They can be generic, but there are ways to use them where you're still boosting your productivity, but you're not sacrificing your authenticity or your quality of work. So that's what I really try to promote and push. And I really wanted to break down the numbers because I'm not one of those people who are going to be like, create 30 days of content in 30 seconds. Like, I'm like, no, that's not taking into account all the things. So for me, with realistic numbers, I found out, like, for example, I love to write, but I'm a slow writer. I labor over every word, I used to take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to write an Instagram caption because exactly it had to be perfect. And now with ChatGPT, I have ChatGPT write me a caption. I've trained it on my brand voice so that it comes out about 80 to 90% there usually. And then I take an extra 10 minutes to edit it for myself. So I've gone from 45 minutes to 60 minutes to write a caption to now 10 to 15 minutes to write a caption or an email or whatever it is. With my podcast episodes, guys, I used to take like 6 hours to edit an episode. I would get so sucked into like every breath. I'd start out and be like, forget about the breaths, the ums, whatever. And then you get sucked into it. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait, why am I editing out every single little piece?
Oh my gosh.
I am OCD, guys. It used to take me 6 hours. It now takes me 2 hours to edit the video and audio, plus find the social media clips, plus write the show notes, schedule it, share the stuff with my guests, all that stuff. Like, that's cutting off 3 to 4 hours per episode. So it's things like that. So the numbers ended up being, realistically, I save up to 3 hours a day, 15 hours a week, and 70 hours a month using AI tools. This is what has allowed me to now grow 2 sister podcasts at the same time, using way less time, effort, energy, money than I was just growing my one business before this. And I always like to remind people too that it's not just about how much more you can do. It's about the space and freedom that you can give yourself to enjoy your life, right? Because we all know as entrepreneurs, that can be hard to do sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I don't feel guilty anymore.
Yeah, right? I'm just thinking because I've mastered the art of answering the emails. So how can I then utilize it? What's the next workflow and process, I guess, that I can use to map out, like, that's where my mind is going. So are there any specific habits or mindsets that you believe in that are essential for success that you want to share with our audience, since you do have 2 sister brands?
For sure. And it's funny because they kind of go together in the same way. Like, one of my big epiphanies in my entrepreneurial journey was when I first started out, I was really trying to emulate all those big name people that I saw online. I was really trying to look like them, talk like them, because I was like, oh, this is what we need to do to be successful, right? And for me, it became so exhausting to try to be someone all the time. And I finally made this decision, okay, whatever, I'm just going to lean into who the heck I am, which is messy, which is dirty, which is laughing and just cracking jokes and stuff. And once I started leaning into who I am in my business, everything clicked into place and became so much easier. And that's why authenticity is really a foundation for both Feel Good Social and Authentic AI. It's not about trying to show up in a certain way. It's about showing up as yourself and aligning yourself with your business in every way possible, because that's how your business becomes easier and that's how you become more magnetic to your perfect people. So that was one of those big lessons that I learned with Feel Good Social way back in the day. And that's honestly why, like, authenticity, training your AI assistant to think and sound like you and like your brand is like the foundational element of what I teach people when it comes to AI tools, and really just making sure that you're using these tools with a human first and brand first approach and caring about the stuff that you're putting out there still, while still allowing these tools to help you.
Can we unpack that part for a second? And maybe if this is repetitive, I do apologize, but how do you train with your brand and voice so that you're not having to constantly go back and say, no, I never used that word, or, oh, can it sound a little bit more, whatever descriptive word you want to use here?
Okay, no, this is not repetitive at all. And I love talking about this because I do have kind of like that branding, messaging, genuine marketing background and stuff. So like for me, this is like where I super nerd out. And then when we get to take it to AI tools, I'm like, yes. And actually, I literally am in the process of about to release our course on this. So I'm super elbow deep in this right now.
Share those links with us.
Oh, I will, girl. I will. So when it comes to training your AI assistant on your brand, I always like to use the analogy of like a new intern, right? Think about if you hired a brand new intern, it's their first day on the job, they walk in and you're like, write me a social media caption. And you don't tell them anything about your brand, your strategy, your ideal customers. That intern would try, but they would probably do a pretty shitty job for you, right? So it's the same thing with your AI assistant. We need to think about training these tools like team members and giving them all the information they need in order to do a good job for us, depending on your brand and your strategy and also on the task that you want it to do. So I always like to say to start with the 3 core strategies of your brand and tell your AI assistant all about that. And then we can get super nerdy and dive deeper into the 2 other strategies if you want. But firstly, you want to tell your AI assistant about your brand core identity. This is your mission, vision, values, beliefs, opinions, differentiating factors, the stuff that makes your brand who it is. Then you want to train AI on your ideal customers because it needs to understand who it's speaking to. So that means their demographics and their lifestyle, their psychographics, all that stuff. But it also means their pain points, desires, all the things that link them to your brand and your offers. Then you want to train it on your brand voice. And this is where it can make such a big impact for not getting the super generic or cheesy, overly professional content that it could write for you, right? So training it on your brand voice means going deeper than just saying, make this more friendly or make this more professional. There's lots of different nuances of your brand voice that can really help ChatGPT pinpoint what that is. So it can be, yes, like your brand's personality and descriptive words, but it can be your archetype, your writing style, your formatting, your emoji usage, your humor style makes a huge difference in your copy. I found out through this process that I use self-deprecating humor all the time. Didn't know it till I started working with ChatGPT, but hey, I guess that's the kind of humor I use. I'm not going to admit that, but am I going to tell ChatGPT to use it because that's what gets me the best response? So it sounds like me? Yes, for sure. So yeah, starting there. And that can look like there's different processes you can use to train ChatGPT on your brand voice. It can look as easy as just simply brain dumping, just word vomiting all the information about your brand into a chat window. But it could also look like what I call my brand blueprint. And this is the course that we're coming out with. But it's basically this giant document that is outlining everything about my brand possible. With ChatGPT, it's super easy to just use the file upload feature. I've outlined, I don't want to scare you, but it's 80 pages. If you can't tell, I'm very long-winded. But ChatGPT helped me create this in 5 hours, it was great. So now I have this brand blueprint. I just file upload it to ChatGPT. It's trained on my brand in 10 seconds. And it can think like my brand, sound like my brand, all that different stuff. So yeah.
Follow-up question, because I'm going down this AI rabbit hole right now. Mm-hmm. For each, I guess, marketing segment or business segment, content that goes on Meta is different than content that goes on LinkedIn is different than content that goes on Pinterest. So with this brand guide, do you put that brand guide in an individual channel for each one and then work it that way?
It really depends on you and your own workflow and your own needs when it comes to using these tools. You can also create custom GPTs for your brand, which is really cool. So it's like creating your own chatbot for your brand, and it's super easy within ChatGPT. It is only on the premium version, which is $20 a month. That's so much better than a lot of other ways we could spend our money and stuff. But it depends on how you want to work. I mean, the brand blueprint that I've created for my brand, it includes those first 3 core strategies that I already talked about: brand identity, ideal customer profiles, your brand voice and writing style. And then I've also included an offer suite profile. So that's outlining all of my offers and also all of my free resources. So it understands the strategy behind my brand. And then it also outlines my brand's core messaging. But on top of that, the brand blueprint, I created this document because I wanted to be the foundational stuff for my brand. So this is everything you need to know in order to do any work for me right away. But then on top of that, I would probably create a custom GPT for my podcast workflow. And that's where I could train it on my show notes outline, my specific show notes formatting, and finding those specific quotes that I want to pull from the episode that are interesting for my ideal customers and things like that. So you can create different channels. You could add to your blueprint or add to your training tasks and strategies in different ways. Create custom GPTs for your brand if you want to like make little team member GPTs and stuff. But yeah, there's lots of different ways to use it. And I think it's just getting curious, and you don't have to do it all right away. And like it kind of becomes apparent to you and natural to you, like, oh, this is what I need, or oh, this is what I should create for my own workflow and my own business. Is that helpful?
So extremely helpful. I'm about to go play with ChatGPT right now.
My mind is like blown. And as a business owner, like when you're starting a business, you definitely want to be curious, especially about the new things as time goes on. Things change, and to be curious and to be able to adapt to what is going on, I believe would help you be set up for success in the long run. The more that we have this conversation, I feel a little bit better about AI, but yes, I do play with it and to see what it can do for me. Yes, I ask my robot if it remembers what I do, and it does. So I've trained it in a way to where it knows my business, but it's just adapting and seeing what's out there and like the tools that can help your business grow.
Yeah, remembering it's a tool too. And that's helpful for the guilt thing as well. Like, oh, this is a tool. It's using Squarespace, it's using whatever, you know? But yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. Also, I have to tell you guys too, because I know what type of businesses you guys are in and stuff. Not only is this helpful for your own business, but starting to think about the possibilities for your clients as well. For example, with my brand blueprint course, I'm like, guys, don't just create this for your own business. You can create this for your clients as well to help you do their client work, or even offer this as a bonus or an upsell to your clients. Do you want me to create like a brand blueprint for you to use with an AI assistant? Do you want me to create like a custom GPT that you can use in your business, or like share with your team members even, right? Like Sarah, I know if you could offer this for your client and then share it with all of their team members, how awesome would that be and how helpful would that be?
That's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. I know we're not the only ones that are interested in your blueprint course. So how can our listeners find you and work with you and learn all the things from you?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me, guys. Like I get so nerdy when I get to talk about AI tools. If you can't tell, I'm like squirming in my seat over here, but thank you for having me. And yeah, I have my Authentic AI podcast. If you search for that on any podcast platform, you should find it. It's a bright purple cover art. You can't miss it. And then my website is DIYwith.ai. And then the blueprint is DIYwith.ai/blueprint. I'm so excited about it because, you know, when you put something out there that you use all the time, that you kind of create it for yourself and you're like, okay, other people need this. So I'm really excited about it. And it is so, so helpful. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I feel like we literally could have talked for hours.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I want to have you back. So thank you for joining in and sharing your expertise and essentially lighting a fire under our behinds to save time and to like bridge that gap. Thanks. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And as always, all of our information is in our show notes. Until next time, bye.